the objective of this class is at the end of this module, you'll be able to define reserved keywords and command line arguments, describe how to get user input from keyword, understand flow control and sequences, practice with files, and define and describe dictionaries and sets. So these are high-level objectives of the class. Now, we would all know what a reserved keyword is, right? Like any other programming language, Python also has a lot of reserved keywords which you cannot use as an identifier or a variable. Reserved keywords are words in Python which cannot be used as variable name, function name, or any other identifiers. Okay, so they are reserved, and if you try to use them, it'll give an error. They are used to define the syntax and structure of Python language, and all the Python keywords contain lowercase letter only. So that's how you identify a Python keyword. Okay, so let's say, for example, and, try, from, lambda, for, global, exec, if, they are all reserved keywords, and you cannot use them as a variable. And also, one common thing that you would have noticed here is that they all start with lowercase letters only. Okay, and if you try to use reserved keyword, let me open an idle. Okay, let me try to open it. Okay, fine. Now, if I try to use, see, first of all, whenever I'm trying to use that as a variable, right, it shows me something in reddish pink color. Okay, so reserved, and as soon as I do that, it gives me an error saying that invalid syntax. Otherwise, if I had have said a equal to 5, there would not have been problem. If I had have said a equal to, anything, some value, okay, this should not have given me any error. You see, with any other values, right, any other variables and any other value assignment, there is no problem whatsoever. But as soon as I try to use the reserved reserved value, it gives me an error. Okay, it says invalid syntax. So that is why I would say that if you use PyCharm, that is when it will just give you an error as soon as you start using it. So let's see how PyCharm helps. Let me open that, and in the meantime, let me move forward. Okay, so command line argument, you know that basically it's with any other programming language. You cannot use reserved words. Period. No more point beyond that. Command line argument, the Python sys module provides access to any command line argument through via sys.argv, argv, right? Sys.argv is the list of command line arguments. Length of your system.argument is the number of command line arguments that you pass. Okay, sys.argv is the program script name. So let's say, for example, if you have passed 3 arguments, your sys.argv, if you say length of sys.argv, it will give you 3, wherein the first sys.argv of 0 would refer to the program name itself. So, one second. Okay, let's move on. Here, if you see this, right, let's say, for example, I have commands.py and cmd. Okay, I'm able to log into Python, no problem. Control D, interrupt. Okay, so here if you see this, I have a program called command.py. Let me open that. Open, and for my class 2, module 2, I have test.py open. Okay, you see this here. Here I have not passed any arguments. Okay, in this program, my second class.py, I have not passed any arguments. So it says that number of arguments is 1. Here all I have done is I have done import sys, which is a system package, and here I am saying print number of arguments is length of sys.rb. Okay, when I say, and then it gives me how many argument, because I have not passed anything, there is just one argument. Okay, an argument list is, this is the only file, right, that I have, string of argument v, which gives me the argument list or the location where my second class.py is stored. Okay, that's what it is. So that's what it's saying here. If there are no arguments, there will just be the length of the argument will be 1. If there are more than 1, it's similar to Linux. If you have worked on Linux or Unix, you'll understand this concept. It's the same. Okay. Now, if it will produce the following argument. If you have argument list as 1, 2, 3, 4, then if you say number of arguments, it will give you 4 arguments. Okay. In this case, if you look at this example, if I say commands.py input 1, input 2, input 3, and it says number of arguments equal to 4 arguments, because you have passed 4, 1, 3 inputs and plus 1 commands.py for you guys. Okay, let's say A equal to raw input. So what I'm going to talk about getting user inputs from keywords. There are 2 types of functions. One is raw input and input. And raw input, just to give you a background, it reads and inputs a string, whereas input reads the input and returns a Python type like list, tuple, int, etc. Okay, so raw input will always return you a string, whereas input can return you any type that you want. Now, enter something and I say print of A and print of type. Okay, so here, okay, this does not look good, so what I would do is I will give it a space and let me rerun it. Now it's saying enter something, right? I say hello, and then it's saying, it's printing that print now raw input, right? I say enter something, and guys, if you have not noticed this, let me run this. Okay, it's a simple program that I have written wherein I say A equal to raw input and enter something, and then I'm printing A and I'm also printing the type of A. Okay, when I say hello here, it says enter something and I'm entering a value hello, and as soon as I click on enter, it just prints hello, and then it prints the type of that hello which I have given as input. Now let me do one thing. Instead of raw input, okay, let me just say input. Okay, and okay, sorry, I had to just delete raw. I deleted in. Okay, input A equal to input, enter something, I still say hello, and in this case name hello is not defined, it says, right? So let me do one thing. Let me not try to print anything. Trace back. A is not defined. Okay, I have to define A. The simple reason being is that input will return, input will return, let me go back here, input will return something of a type, reads the input and return a Python type like list, tuple, int, etc. Okay, so here, let me go and show it to you here. Actually, this should not have happened. Okay, let me do it here. A equal to input enter. Okay, and print type of A. My program is type of is. I am not sure as to why this is not giving me proper output. Anyways, if I say enter something, guys, give me a second. This is acting a little weird. Okay, now so basically it reads and inputs the return of a Python type like list, tuple, etc. So if I basically at this point in time, if you see, if I'm giving an integer, it just gives me an integer, but it has something to do with the version of Python I would have installed. So it's fine with integer, but if I take something like A here, it just gives me an error which it should not actually. So fine, we'll see that it's it depends upon the version. Again, I think it has got to do, mine is 2.7.8. so the returns the input, reads the input and returns a string. Okay, that's what raw input is, and we do not have a problem with this. But the input, it reads the input and returns a Python type like list, tuple, int, etc. So basically here, okay, let me do one thing. I think I got it. Hold on. Okay, so basically the basic difference here is that my bad, okay, my bad, my mistake. So basically the difference is that in raw input it will always return you a string, and whatever you give, it will always return your type as string. But in case of input, you take the Python types like for example, in this case I have taken list, right? You can take list, tuple, and integer, etc. That is what it will return. But if you pass a string, it will not take it. So what you have to do in those cases, you might have to, if you want to pass a string, you'll have to cast it to string. Okay, and that's when it will work. Okay, makes sense, guys? Are you able to understand this? So there are two types of methods in which your Python is able to accept data from outside. One is input and raw input. Raw input is always for string, and input is always for Python type like tuple, list, dictionaries, etc. So when you pass it, when you pass a list in my example here, or when you pass list, it just gives me a list. Now flow control. Yesterday I did explain to you a little bit about flow control. Okay, today we'll go a little bit into the deeper details of flow control. Python provides various tools for flow control. I'm sure everyone would have worked on it. Okay, you would know what is if, else, while, for, break, and continue. Now if statement, right? The if statement is used to check a condition. Everyone knows it. Right? If the condition is true, we run a block of statement called the if block. Else, if we process another block of statements called the else block is optional. So we know that here, if you see, if some condition, if 1 equal to 1, then process some statement, else do some other thing. So in this example, you have taken variable 10. If where less than 10, print this value, else value is more than 0. So it's simple, right? We all know if. Okay, I'm not wasting my time on if. Similarly, if else. Okay, let me type it and show it to you. Maybe it'll make more sense then. And actually I already have it here. Let me define var equal to 10 if var print value is 10. You see here again, I would stress on this, okay? Look at the indentation and the colon here. Even on else, print now you see this. See, I have not typed, I have not written this code so as to give you the difference between if and else. Okay, I assume and I am confident that everyone knows this. You do not want me to explain this to you. But the reason why I have typed this is to show you that if you're writing if condition, you need a colon at the end if you have forgotten. And for else, like I've told you, again there's a colon. For all control statements, they end with a colon. And the next important thing to note here is the indentation. Okay, exact indentation. If I just put the indentation here, you see this, the red color, it says indentation expected, and if you run this program, it will fail. That's what we got. It just fails. So, and even if you see here, so the best way would be to follow tab or 4 spaces like we saw yesterday, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 or 3. I mean how much ever you are comfortable with. I generally use tab to do indentation. Also you have if else if statement. So basically if where you have here elif, it's called ELIF, elif where greater than 10 equal to, well, okay. So basically there are 3 things to remember here. One, for every control statement there is a colon, and second, you need to worry about indentation. You have to have a proper indentation, otherwise your code will fail. Third, with if and else statement, the else if it is not ELSCIF, it's ELIF. Okay, those are the 3 things that I wanted you to remember. Moving forward, okay. So guys, I need your response on this. After the below code is executed, the user enters a value 100. What will be the output? Once the code is executed, the user is asked to enter 10. The value entered by the user will be compared in if condition. Since the user entered 100, which is not equal to 10, hence the output is false. Okay. So moving on, let's go and see while statement. I'm removing this. The reason why I'm typing some of these examples is because you'll then remember whatever I have typed. One and not equal to 0. Okay. Again, you see here, I'm making some small mistakes, okay? Guys, you'll have to identify what that mistake is. Let me do this well, not equal to 0. So guys, can you tell me if I have done any mistake here? If I run this program, okay, it says invalid syntax. So all I have done here is I have taken a number and I just wanted to see whether that number is even number or not. I take each of this number, subtract it. If n modulus 2 equal to 0, for the first time I take 5. 5 modulus 2 is not equal to 0, right? So what it does is it goes to else and it prints this for the first time. Okay, and then it says n equal to n minus 1, which means now my 5 becomes 4. And well, n not equal to 0, yes it's true. N modulus 2 equal to 0, yes it's true. It just prints 4 is an even number and just does that n equal to n minus 1 again. So it becomes 3 and so on and so forth. So 4 and 2 it just prints. Okay, that's how while works. But the idea is not to tell you about while. You already know about it. The idea is to tell you that if you look at while also has an else statement along, like if, while has an else statement as well. Okay, in case of if, it was if, elif, else, right? In case of while, it's while and else. We'll see now what are the other things that's available. Okay, so that's fine. It always says, right, this will be indentation and colon should always be respected. Okay, you'll have to put proper indentation and colon. And again, for loop, right? Let me print let me make a list. Print object found else print not found. Okay, so all I have done here is just a second guys. So all I have done here is, no, I do not want it here, I want it here. Let's see what happens. Now, in this case, right, n1 object found n. Okay, let me remove this, right? This will unnecessarily create confusion. Now you see what I have done here is I have said n1. I have defined the list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for number in n1. If n equal to 6, I'll just say print object found else, and this else is not for this if. Okay, for number in num1 it will go up to 6, and as soon as it will go from 1 to 6. For the first time from number 1 to number 6 it will go here. If number equal to 6, it will just print object found for the first time. Okay, and after this is over it will eventually go to the else and then say not found, or this is not the correct definition, I am in else. Guys, do you see any difference here from the normal else? Or let me not give an if condition here, right? That way you'll be able to understand. Okay, so what it does is it will take this entire for loop, it will read through it, it's printing everything, and finally it's going on to else. So after your for has been read completely, it then goes to else. Correct. Here else is for the for loop and it's not for the if. Here I do not even have if in this case. Different? Yes, absolutely, it's different from other languages. Basically you have else with if, you have else with for, you have else with while. That's all I'm trying to say. You have else with everything. Okay, and Now see the way it works here. In case of while, the way it was working was as soon as the while case became wrong, it went on to the else, right? In case of for, there is no condition here, right? So what it does is it reads the entire for. Whenever it's done, it goes on to the else. Okay, makes sense, guys? Let's move on. Let me also give you one more example, right? Let me see. So as to make it more clear for you, okay? For number in range. Now what does range do? Now let me club for num in range, want to print number, and while number greater than 0, number minus equal to 1, number equal to number minus 1, else print out print num. Now what's okay, when I want to execute it, I'm getting an error. Okay, it's missing colon. Okay, I fix it. Okay, even if it's missing colon here, right? No, okay, Santosh, SM, Vishwa. Now you see here for num in range 1 to n. What does range 1 to n do, guys? It will just take 1, 2, 3, right? 1 to that number. Excellent. That's what it does. So what I do here is I take 1 to that number is for the first time it prints 1, and then I have, okay, let me not do this. Number okay, so basically what it does is it takes from that number 1 to that number which is 1 and to me. Okay, I do not worry about this. Okay, it's just missing white space, don't worry about that. So what it does for the first time, it prints 1 while 1 greater than 0, right? That's true. 1 equal to 1 minus 1, okay, which becomes 0 now, and then again it will go out to this, okay, again print number equal to 2, and here it goes out while 2 is greater than 0. Okay, so basically you got it, right? All it does is it goes through this number, it prints the number first, it says while number greater than 0, which is number is 1, 1 is greater than 0, it goes here, number equal to number minus 1, which 1 minus 1, 0, else it just prints out this number and then goes on. Okay. Okay. When I say a range, it will just take, it will be minus the last one. Okay, let's say 1 to 10. It will print 1 to 9. Okay, so in case of range, right, what it does is you all know that it creates a range of values, right? If I say 1 to 20, it will give me 20 values. 1 to 10, it will give me 10 values. It's exactly the same thing that is done by X-range as well. Oh, okay, you did not do it, but anyways, let me explain that to you because I'm explaining range. I want to finish it off with X-range as well. Now, X-range is something which is very useful when you have to save the memory. Okay. Now, for example, when you do a range, right, it stores all 10 values. If it is just range, it will store all 10 values in memory, and then it will output one by one to a terminal. Okay. But if it is X range, only the value that is being read at that point in time will be stored in your memory. So in this case, for the first time when 1 was being read, this was the only item which was available in memory. As soon as it dumped in terminal, 1 was no more in memory. Okay, and then it went to 2, 3, 4. There is no difference in functionality between X and X range. It is just that if you are trying to optimize your program, rather than using range, you would go for X range, because X range does not consume any memory. It will only store that particular item which is being worked on at that point in time. Let's say, for example, I have range from 1 to so many zeros, right? 1 billion. What it does, you might run out of your memory if this is too huge, right? In case of range, okay. In case of range, because it's storing so many number in memory at that point in time, and then it will dump one by one, pulling out from that memory. But if it is X range, it will only have that particular number at that point in time, whichever it's trying to process. Make sense, guys? Otherwise, functionality-wise, no difference. Only memory consumption is limited with X range, or let's say only if it is number is just 2 bytes. But with range, you just do a multiplication of how many ever number that you are storing in memory. Okay? Okay. I think you got it. Moving forward. Okay. Yeah, you saw this even number, odd number. Okay. Range generates list containing arithmetic progression. We already saw range. And now there are 3 types of range function. Okay. One is range. Okay, we'll just keep. So here for number in range, we can say 10. Okay, there are 3 types of range. That's what I'm trying to show you. It's, if we say number in range of 10, it will give you 0 to 9. Okay. Now you can say the same thing as 0 to 9, and let's say you want to hop in 2 places, it will give you 0 to 4, 6, 8. That's what you saw. There are 3 types of range functions that you can use. One is this is start, stop, and hop. Okay, this start, stop, and hop. The other is start and stop. Another is just stop, start, stop, hop. Okay, that's how it is. Or you say a step also. I mean, however you are comfortable. Okay, I say that as hop. You can call it a step. It says start, stop, and step. You have start, stop, and stop. Okay. Guys, hopefully it is clear. If you are not clear, please do ask me. Okay, these are some of the basics concepts, and you'll have to be very clear before we move on to the next round. Okay, break and continue statement. Let me explain this to you. Now, okay. First of all, the break statement in Python terminates the current loop, and it resumes execution at the next statement. Okay, I'm sure you would know what a break is. Okay, you want me to run this? But then hold on. So you want me to run this, right? Print. I just want to put a segregation, okay, so that you understand what I'm trying to print where. Okay, so for the first one, it is 0 to 4, 6, 8. Okay. For the second one, 0 to 9. For the third one, it's again 0 to 9. SA Muhammad, is that okay? Make sense? Now do this with X range as well. So every time I use range, personally, whenever I use range, I don't use range. I use X range because that's performance-wise that's better, and hence I use X range. Okay. that's up to you. If your program is not that big, you can use range, but as and when you start writing complex program which is more memory intensive, you'll automatically start writing X range. Now I'm explaining about, I'm deleting this, okay guys. Actually, what I would do is, I have written in notes for you guys. Where's that? Let me share that with you, model, second class. I don't know whether it is this one or the other one. No. That's okay, model 2. No, not this one. Second class. Okay, here you go. So these are my notes, okay, which I'm going to share it with you after the class, right? I have everything starting from testing reserved words to, this is for your practice, okay, and how it fails, and raw input and input, user input, try, race error, while, loop, while, everything, if, break, continue, print, pass. So there are a lot of other things that I have tried to put in here for your practice. I'm going to share this with you after the class. Please go have a look, you know, go through this, practice with whatever I have given here, and you'll be good. Okay. Even yesterday, you know, I was trying to execute one program directly from my, you know, command line, and it was not working, right? Because this system path was not there. See, I've given it here as well. Okay. So you can take a look at it and execute it whenever you have time. Just keep this handy with you. Now let me do one thing. Let me go on, and I was explaining about break statement. Okay, so for break, let me do this. Instead of giving you a lot of theory, I think this will help you. So what do you expect this to print, guys? Any idea as to what this is going to print? It's a simple program, okay? It will print PYT, that's, okay, let's say, PY says Vishwa, PYTO says Mohammed, Sangamesh says PYT. Okay, okay. You are correcting yourself, Mohammed. You are saying PYT only. Okay. SA says PYTON. Correct. So let's see what it does. It will just print PYT. Okay. SA, you are right the first time. So basically what it does is it will just start printing P if letter equal to H. Yes, absolutely. You are right the first time. Okay, Mohammed is saying great essay. See, when you start printing, it starts PYT, and as soon as it gets H, it just breaks out of the loop. Okay, that's break here. Okay, now let's go and see. So the most common use for break is when some external condition is triggered, requiring a hasty exit from a loop. Basically, you just want to get out of the loop. That is when you use break. And also the break statement can be used in while, for, if, wherever you want to, okay? Now let me do this. Instead of break, I say continue. Okay, what happens in this case? It will give me PYTON. So that's the difference between break and continue, right? Break just gets you out of the loop, and continue will still continue with the next letter or next whatever you have to process. Okay. Now there is one more with break continue, there is one more command called as pass. Okay, the pass statement in Python is used when a statement is required syntactically, but you do not want any command or code to execute. So basically, it's more like a dummy thing. Okay, pass. You just put it there, and in a block of code, sometimes it so happens that you need a block of code, but wherein you do not want to do anything. You are like, okay, I'll just put if condition here and then just pass it. Something of that sort. Let's say if let's A equal to 10 in some condition, I just want to pass it. I do not want to perform any action. That is when I use pass. Most of the times, most often than not, I have seen this personally that I've always used pass to test my functionality rather than use it in actual code. So because break and continue is enough for me to perform all my actions. The pass statement is actually a null operation. Okay, nothing happens when it executes. I mean, you're not trying to do anything with the pass statement. The pass is also useful in places where your code will eventually go but has not been written. Let's say, for example, you know that you need to write a piece of code, right? You know that there is an if condition or case statement that you need to write, but you do not know as to what will go in there right now. So what you do is you just write those case or if condition and then say pass for now, because you will come and revisit it later. So let me do it here. Let me comment this first. Okay, we'll use this. See, look at this. I mean, you went here, if letter equal to S, you're still passing, but it still goes out and then it still prints it. Okay, for letter in Python, but if this were to be here, it would have just printed if letter equal to H. Anyways, this is nothing related to pass, right? If you say if letter equal to H, yes it is, it goes here, it prints this is pass block and current letter is H. But if this were to be outside, even then, it does not do anything. You are just saying PYT H1, it's printing everything and but then it's still going inside pass block. Okay. So most of the times, like I told you, right, it's a null statement, null operation, does not mean anything. It is not break, it is not continue, right? It's just a simple pass. Many a times what I want to do is, let's say, many a times it so happens that I know I have to do something when letter equal to H, okay? But then I do not know what to put in here, so I would say pass for now. I'll come and revisit it later. Exactly, it's mostly for debugging, Vishwa. Nothing more than that. Because break and continue is more than sufficient to do your program. Okay. But then it's there, and so I'm explaining. You might find a good use cases wherein you use pass basically to do null operation, but otherwise pass has not. It does not have that significance. Okay, so break, continue, pass. Okay, guys, here goes one more question. Okay, that's a full screen. Okay, number equal to 3, and what it does is it says for number in range 1 to n, number 1 to n. Guys, I see that you have popped up a question. Please give me a second. It says while number greater than 0, it just says number minus equal to 1. Okay, again colon and else print out and comma and print Okay, there is none. Okay, so okay, now we move on to sequence. Sequence, as the name suggests, a sequence is a succession of values bound together by a container that reflects the type. There are 4 types of sequence. It's list, tuples, X-range, and string. Okay, so these are the type of sequence that Python has. We all know what a list is, right? We all know what a tuple is. Now you might not know as much of tuples as yet, but at least we know what a list looks like. The only difference between list and tuple is list has square braces, whereas tuple has parentheses. Okay. X-range, we know what an X-range is. I just explained it to you, and we know what a string is as well. But let's uncover this one by one. Python supports several of these string, list, tuples, and X-range objects. On each of these, Python has a bevy of methods and formatting operations that it can perform. We'll see it one by one. Now you see here list. A list type is a container which holds a number of other objects. Okay, so list type is a container which holds a number of other objects in a given order. The list type implements the sequence protocol, and it allows you to add and remove objects from a sequence. A list is an ordered set of elements enclosed in square braces. Okay, so if you say list equal to range of 5, okay, this is something which we have seen yesterday, but let's go ahead and do it again. L1 equal to, see, this is something which you are not supposed to do. Okay, list equal to list, you are not supposed to do this. Some versions it might work, some version it might not work, but this is a way of saying that please desist from writing any keyword that is available as a variable. Okay. I'm very bad with spelling, so R-A-N-G. Okay, that's how. So when I say L1, I get this, right? Now, also the other thing is that in list, I can take a string and then put it into a list, and then it becomes. This is more like casting, you know. It's like if you want a number to be casted as a string, all you do is use a string of that number and it becomes string, right? If you have defined a particular number as a string, right, and you want to cast it to integer, you say integer of that particular variable, right? You get it. So in this case, variable equal to Edureka, this is a string, it's of default type string, and then you have made it to type list. Now once you have L1, you get this, okay? So let's see that, and you have seen this, right? L1 of 0 and stuff. I'm not going to explain this. It will give you the first value in the list, and L1 of -1 will give you the last value from that list. Okay, we have seen this. Moving on. You know what the length of list is. You also know when you say 2 to 3. Here, if you say L1 of 2 to 3. What is it that you get? You get 2, 0, 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3. So you get this. If you say L1 of 2 to 4, you get 2 and 3. 0, 1, 2. It starts from here and till 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? It gives you this value. Yesterday I did explain to you about this. And now there are other important things that I would want to say. Okay, if there are no index of that particular value, it will return you index out of range error. Okay. Now this is fine. You say list of 1, 2, 3. You know how to pull this. List of 1 and -1. Okay. L1 of 1 and colon -1. It will give you the first and the last. Okay. Here 1 from 1, 2 and 3. 1 to -1, right? Till here. So it will give you these 3 values. Okay. Basically 1 is this one and -1 is this one. So it will give you everything in between those. Okay. Similarly, if you say 1 and minus 2. Minus 2 is this, 1 is this. So it will give you 1 and 2. Okay, so it's simple. And also you have seen that if I do not give anything, let's say for example 1 and colon, it will give me everything after 1, or if I say colon and 2, it will give me everything before 2. Also, there are various lists. Let's say I have defined one list. I have list 2. So you know what my list 1 is. Let's say list 2 equal to 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So L1 dot you see this? What did I do? I just appended list 2 to list 1. Okay. Now list 2, whatever I had here has been appended to list 1. Now if I say L1 of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 will give me a list here again. Okay, that's how append works. If I say L1 plus L2, it will just put everything in correct order. Now it's not clean because all what I have done is as soon as I appended L1 to L2, it became a list within a list, right? You saw that. Now if I say L1 plus L2, this is L1, this is L1, and this is L2. So it just appended the two lists. So you can extend the list by appending all items in a given list. You have extend, you have insert, you have remove, you have pop. If you say L1, you have this L1 dot pop. What does this do? It will just remove the last list. You want to get 5? Okay, okay, let's see that. Oh, I just, what I did. Okay, just understand this L1.pop will remove the last item of the list. Okay, okay, I say. Did you get this? I'll come back to your question now. Okay. No. Okay. Are we good? Yes, absolutely, like a second vector. Now it looks like it's a two-dimensional array, right? But which is not. It's a single-dimensional array. Although it's a single-dimensional array, but you have list within a list, and so to access that, you just say list of whichever, and on top of that, which one do you want? Okay, moving forward, and again there is pop, there is remove an item from the list. If I say L1 dot okay, now when I see L1, it's gone. L1 dot X not in list, so there is no 5. 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's remove 4. Okay, now L1 is only so much. Okay, so basically it's there is no 4. Okay, there is 4. It removed 4 from here. Basically, you are removing the values. When you say remove 1, it just removed 1. When you say remove 5, it says there is no 5 here. Right? When I say remove 4, it just removed 4 from this. Basically, it removes an item from the list. Inserts an item to a given position. All you have to do is you have to say list.insert in which position, index, and the value. Okay, let me do that as well. And I'm popping out the last one. Okay, L1.pop. I do not like list within a list. Okay, now L1 dot insert and in 0, 1 first position insert 1. So you see there was no 1 in first position, I inserted 1. So let me insert 10 in my fourth position. Make sense, guys? So these are all list related functions. So if you want to see what are the available options with that list, all you can do is you can say dir of L1. Yes, I'm showing you my screen, Shankar. So if you want to see all the functions which are available inside your list, all you have to do is you have to say dir of L1. Okay. Now guys, if you see this, what I have done, you have sort, reverse, remove, pop, insert, index, extend, count, append. You see this? That's what we are trying to explain here. We have only given 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 list manipulation methods here, right? But if you look at the actual methods, there are so many. Now you will be like, how do I know whether, how do I know how to use it? That might be your question, right? So what you can do is, you can say list1 dot count dot, see, okay, guys, if you say dir directories or list everything, list all the methods of your list, you say dir of L1 and you get everything. Now you want to know the usage of it, but then a simple point to note, right? You will have to have documentation for you to be able to see it, right? So all I'm saying here is, for count, give me the documentation, and it says L.count integer returns the number of occurrence of a value. Okay, so let's say for example, my L1 is 0, 1, 2, 3, 10. So L1 dot count of 10 will give me 1 because it says return number of occurrences of value. Guys, is this making sense to you? Are you able to see how powerful a list is? Okay, one more example. If you have not been able to understand this yet, if I say 1, I should get 1 as well. Now li dot insert into my position number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fifth number position, let me insert 1 again. So now I have 1 repeated twice. So if I say L1 count of 1, it will give me 2. Hopefully guys, this is making sense. Okay. Now you might not know what a reverse is. All you have to do is you have to say L1 dot reverse dot underscore underscore doc underscore underscore, and it will give you a reverse in place. Right? There is no much documentation here. So many times you might not find the documentation because it will not be available in the Python that you would have downloaded. In those cases, you can go to python.docs.org, or there are many other websites which gives you the documentation of particular package that you want to use. Okay, so that's about list manipulation. And again, see, I've shown this like append. I've also shown you how to extend the list. All you have to do is list 1 and extend list 2. It will just add it. Okay, it is similar to L list 1 plus list 2. And you say insert, already done. Remove, already done. Pop, already done. You can find out the index of a number as well. All you have to do is, if we say L1 index of Hadoop is 0 and 1. That's the index of Hadoop. If you have multiple repeated, it will just give you the first index as to where the first occurrence of an object. That is what you will get here. List of index not, there is no not here, so you do not get anything, you get an error. And also this, similar to yesterday, I explained you something, right? Android in list. Is Android available in list? Yes, it's true. Not in list? No, it's not true. So false. Also, there is other way of adding elements to list. You can say list plus, you can give a list again, and you get a big list, right? It's more like an append. And then you can say list plus, it's 1 plus equal to, okay, a plus equal to 2. If you give, it's a equal to a plus 2, right? Similar to that. List plus r, you can add again r in the list. And new list equal to, you can say into 3, which will multiply each item by 3 times. Shut up, shut up, shut up. It has been multiplied by 3 times. Now we have learned all that about lists, right? We are good with lists. So let's move on to tuple. A tuple is an immutable list. A tuple cannot be changed in any way once it has been created, okay? So basically with list, you could play around with list, right? You could do whatever you wanted to do with list, but with tuple, that's not possible. It cannot be changed in any way once it has been created. A tuple is defined in the same way as a list, except that the whole set of elements are enclosed in parentheses instead of square braces. Okay, so let me define a tuple quickly. Tuple, and now instead of your parentheses, I have, instead of square braces, I have a parenthesis. You see, A, B, and C. That's how I get. And you can access tuple the same way as you did with the list. Okay, there is no difference whatsoever in respect of accessing a tuple. Tuple, the only difference between tuple and list is the square braces. You access it exactly the same way. Tuple with square braces 0, 1, which will 0 will give you 0th element, 1 will give you first element, minus 1 will give you the last element, so on and so forth. So there is no difference. What's the difference? The difference is, let's go and see. Okay. The difference is that you cannot, if you say tu dot pop, it says it has no object called pop. Okay. Now let's see some more difference. Now let's compare the tuple with, this is the list of objects or methods that a list has, and this is the list of methods or objects that a tuple has. So let's compare. It has count, yes, there is count here as well. And what about sort? It does not have it. What about remove? There is no remove function, there is no pop function, there is no insert function. What about index? Index? It has index function, okay. What about extend? There is no extend function, there is no append function. So basically you can see the difference, right? Tuple is immutable. You are not able to insert to a tuple, you are not able to append to a tuple, you are not able to play around with the data in tuple except for reading the data like you do in list. Otherwise, list and tuple are same except for the method differences, okay. Guys, any question in this one? Are we good? Basically, you cannot pop, remove, reverse, insert, extend, append. You cannot do all those things with tuple, okay, because there are no object available for the tuple. Otherwise, again, this is same R into U. Everything works as is, okay, as similar to list, except for the methods modifying the data. Now, similarly, removing element from tuple is not allowed. Tuple has no remove or pop method. That's what we saw, right? There is no remove or pop method. Adding elements to tuple is not possible. Tuples have no append or extend method. That's what we saw. There is no extend and the append method here. So functional sequences. So basically, we can do a comparison. Yeah, there is a compare function. If you have two tuples, let's say for example tx and ty, and if you say compare of tx and ty, all it does is it will compare Python with Python, yes, Hadoop with R. It just gives you, basically you are comparing tx with ty, right? When you do that comparing tx with ty, you are getting a -1. When you compare ty with tx, you get 1. Now I'll tell you why. Okay, let's go and read. Let's make this actually first. Tx equal to, I take some example which is easier to type, okay. X AB now you say compare The reason now compare of now the reason is that you see here Tx, Ta. When you are comparing A equal to A, which is good, we are good. B is equal to C, no. But then C is greater than B. That's the reason why you have -1. Okay. Now in this case, when you compare it in opposite direction, Ty by Tx, A is equivalent to A, C is greater than B, and hence the output is 1. So basically, if you are trying to compare two different numbers here using a tuple, you get -1, 1, or 0. Let's say you compare. Then you get 0. Guys, does this make sense? Hopefully it's making sense. Okay, great. Thank you, Asay. Now moving on. Again, length is same. Okay, not repeating it. Maximum is again same. Minimum is same, and you have a tuple. You can create a tuple. You can have a list and then create that tuple. Let's say, for example, L1. Okay, so I've converted a list into a tuple. Okay, basically it's casting. It's making integer type to string or string type to integer and so on. And you can convert a tuple to a list also. Okay, vice versa is also true. Now moving to a function called enumerate function. The enumerate function returns a generator object, a kind of object that supports iteration protocol. Okay, so basically whenever you say enumerate, right, what it will do is it will give you index and value. Okay. So if I say here L1 is this one, and let's say Tx, enumerate of Tx, it just created an enumerate object. So what I have to do is I have to convert that into tuple and say enumerate of Tx. Here it goes. So basically, whenever I enumerate a tuple, right, it gives me an enumeration object. But then if I have to see what are the values inside that object, I just have to convert that into tuple. So it gives me, for A, the index is 0, B, the index is 1. So basically enumeration would enumerate the data or explode the data and give you its index along with its values. Yes, key value pair, correct, I say. That's what it gives you. But your key is always an index here, okay? In this case, when you do not mention anything, okay. Now exchange, I have already explained to you about exchange. Exchange creates an iterator instead that scans through the item and keeps only the current encountered items in memory, hence utilizing same amount of memory all the time. Okay. So basically there is no difference between range and exchange. The only difference, like I have told you, is that it only uses the same amount of memory and only so much of memory is used. Now again, this is one of the most important concepts after list. Tuple is again easy. There are not many options available in tuple, but dictionary is something that you have to understand it carefully. Okay, let's do that. Just give me a second. Okay. Okay, now let's go. Dictionaries are perhaps the most flexible built-in data type in Python. Okay. The chief distinction is that in dictionaries, items are stored and fetched by key instead of positional option. So dictionaries are key value pair. Okay. List is ordered collection of object, whereas a dictionary is unordered collection of an object. Okay. I'll tell you how. Properties accessed by key and not an offset dictionary. It's a key value pair, so whenever you have to access a dictionary, you use the key to access the value. Unordered collection of arbitrary objects, variable length, heterogeneous and arbitrary nestable. You can have dictionary within a dictionary. Mutable mapping, you can edit the dictionary, you can change it. It's unlike tuples, which is unmutable. Dictionary is mutable. And tables of object references, it has hash tables as well. Okay. So let's go and explore it. Dictionary is written as key value pair separated by comma enclosed in curly braces. Okay. So you learned three things till now. One is list is square braces, and your tuple is parenthesis, whereas dictionary is curly braces. Empty dictionary is an empty set of braces, and dictionary can be nested by writing one of the value inside another dictionary, okay, or within a list or a tuple. So let's see. Now let me just create one dictionary. D equal to, okay, it starts with flower bracket, and now let me say name age 7 class. So I created a dictionary. So let's say, for example, if I have to access the keys, I just say d.keys, and it gives me all the list of keys. Okay. If I want to access the values, I say d.values. It gives me all the values. If I have to access all the items, d.items. Okay. Everything here. It is either d or d.items. That gives me the same thing. And if I say d.get 1 second. Okay, there is nothing in 1 to get. So let me do one thing. Let me access this by keys, right? So for key value, print in dictionary.items, I'll have to print key and values. Let's go and see here before I come back. Okay, this is how you create an empty dictionary. Okay, that's a dictionary here, Mohammed. If you see what I have done here, I have defined D equal to this one. Make sense? D equal to, it's a key value pair, key value, key value. Okay. Now, if I have to access the items, I'll have to loop inside a for loop, which I am going to show to you in a short while. Oh, okay, no problem. But glad that you're back. So in this case, I have created a dictionary, and here you see D of 1 will give me Python, or I can say, in my example, if I say D of where is name? Okay, I get Zara. Name and age, I get this one, class. Okay, so I am able to access the value inside my D dictionary using the keys. So if you did not see in my first place, when I say d.keys, I get age, name and class, right? So I have to access individual values of name, age and class by the keys. Okay. The reason why it gives me an error because this is caps, it's case sensitive. Okay. I hope this is clear. Now D of 1 will just give me Python because D of 1 is an index here, which is nothing but key. Length of D, if I do a length of D here, len of D, it will give me how many? 3, because there are 3 dictionaries, 1, 2 and 3. There are 3 dictionaries. So basically d.1 will give you the Python length of D, 1 in D true, right? Because you see the key 1 is available, 5 in D it's false. D.keys will give you all the key. D.values will give you all the values. See, Python and Hadoop are the values, you get that. D.items will give you everything as a tuple inside a list, right? But this is a dictionary, okay? Dictionary. And D.get1 will get you only Python because 1 is the key, D.get of key. Also, D.update D2 once you have defined a dictionary 1 and dictionary 2, like I said, dictionary is mutable. So all you have to do is D.update of D2 will update it. It's similar to list, exactly similar to list. And also you can pop it out. D.pop of 2 will only pop out Hadoop, and all that will remain of D is your one Python. Okay, in this case, in my case, what's D? D.pop of class. Now D remains is age and name because I popped out class. Let me know if you're not able to understand. Okay, and now again, D for key in values you can print like this for D.items. Okay. You see this, what I have done? I looked into D.items. Basically, if I say D.items, it gives me everything, okay? Age, all the dictionary that is available. All the values that is available in dictionary. Key value pair, it gives me something like this. So if I say for key and value in D.items, D.items would return me key and value. So I just print that key and value, and hence I got this. Clear, guys? If you're not able to understand, let me know. Now that's about dictionaries, man. Because see, the only difference between a list and a dictionary is list is ordered and dictionaries are not. You'll see this here, that when I defined my dictionary, I said age, name, okay, name, see here, I gave it as a name, age and class. Okay, that's how I defined my dictionary. But when I tried to print it, when I just said D, it gave me age first, name second, and class as third. Whereas I defined name as first, age as second, and class as third. Which means to say that, dictionary does not order anything. But if it were to be list and you would have said name is first, age is second, and class is third, it would have given me in exactly same sequence the values as well. Okay, sure. Let me show that to you, essay. You see here, you have clear, get, from, iter items, iter values, key, pop items, site default, update values, view keys, view values. That's all you have. You do not have sort. Or I think I can do this sort of. No, you cannot use it. No. Okay. So basically that's the only difference between a list and a dictionary. That's what I was telling you, right? List is by default sorted, you can sort it, you can reverse it, but dictionary is something which is non-sorted and hence you cannot do it. Okay? That's the only difference. Apart from that, everything is the same. And the dictionary has many uses, and I would say it's the most powerful of all this that we have shown, right? Tuples, list, sequences. In all the sequences that we have seen, dictionary is the most powerful and most widely used. Now sets. Okay, in sets It's simple. Okay, sets is again sets are neither mapping nor sequences. Rather, they are unordered collection of unique and immutable objects. Okay, that's set. They are unordered. Whatever order you may put, they may take it in their own way. Okay, if you say set 1 equal to set try, set 2 equal to set try, and if you see set 1 instead of try, it might be YRT. It just changes its position because it's not ordered. Set 2 equal to YCR, and then you say set 1, set 2. If you want to dump both of this in together, you can say set 1 comma set 2, and then it just concatenates here. If you remember, you know how we printed in our previous example, you say print number and then we give comma and leave it, right? So that the next line item also fits onto the same line. It's similar here. If you want to dump everything on same terminal on same line, you say set 1 comma set 2. Also, you can do a union of sets because think of a set in Venn diagram, right? You can do a union of set as well. If you do union of set, what will it do? It will for whichever letters which are repeated, it will keep it once. For others, it will keep it as it is. So in this case, TRY and CRY, basically Y is repeated, so Y only comes 1, and TRC. So that's the union. You get an intersection as well. Intersection would be your Y and R. That's your intersection because it's been repeated twice. The difference will be set 1 minus set 2. It's TRYCR. It is T for this one. If you do set 2 minus set 1, it will be C. Okay. Again, these are all mathematics. Okay. If you look at Venn diagram and if you got two graphs like this, right? Let me. In case of lists and dictionaries, you have extensive usage, but sets are used when you have to do simple mathematical problem or whenever you need to do elimination. Okay, let's say for example you have a lot of words, okay, in two different sets, and you need only those words which are unique to them, right? Unique to both the places. Then you can use sets. Or let's say you want to find out the intersection or only the ones which are common between those two sets, then you can use again sets. So basically the usage of sets is more from mathematical perspective, and the point here is that you do not use sets in mathematics. Like this were the basic packages which were developed in Python long time back, okay, but when you go through these classes, towards the later half of your classes, maybe in 4th or 5th class, you will learn more about numerical Python and scientific Python, etc., wherein you will learn more about how to play around with this data, okay, mathematical data. So just know it. The usage of it, I see as of now, the set usage is extremely less, but sequence usage is you use it in everything. I mean, Python is built on sequences. When I talk about sequences, it is I'm talking about lists, tuple, dictionaries, etc. So their usage is in everything that you do in Python, okay, for sequences. But sets is something you know, there are better options than sets to use. It's just the start, so I'm explaining you the sets right now. So union, intersection, difference, and working with files. Okay. Now let me open file, read and write. So what you can do is you can open a file. I think second class Python. Let me open my. Okay, and again, yesterday I was not able to show you one thing, right? I was not able to show you the number of arguments passed, etc. So in case of my second class, right, what I have done is, see here, if you remember yesterday what I had asked, see Python, this is my complete, this is my command.python file, and ABC and DEF are two arguments. So the number of arguments here is 2. Argument list is 1. This is my first argument, this is my second argument, and this is my third argument. Okay, so that's what I've tried to show here. Now let me go and open a file for you. This is how you open a file. Okay, you say file equal to open and you give the path of I don't know whether the file is still available or not, but let me try. Oh, it's there. Oops. So what I did here is I went to this location, input T2, the Hadoop rough work, data input T2, and January 2014.csv, right? So what I did was I want to read this file. Okay, how do I read it? Oops. No, there seems to have been some problem. Let me try to open it once again. Okay, you see this? This is the data that I'm trying to read. So all I have to do here is I have to go to this particular location and open it. All I have to do is I have to say file, open, and this R is called read only mode. Okay, open this file in read only mode. I can give either / this way, or I can also do it like this. Okay, this is also the same. Either I have to have 2 backslash or 1 forward slash. Okay, so this is how I read the file. This is how I open the file, and after I have opened the file, I have to have a for loop or a while loop, and then in each of this, now every line will be read one by one, and then I'm going to print the same thing. Okay, that's about file read. Now let me go to T2, and is there anything called test? Now let me want to write something on the file. I want to write something on the file, so let's see. Okay, I'm saying open a file in write mode. If this W plus is nothing but read and write mode. Okay, so I've opened a file test.txt in read and write mode. Now if I say g.write A, it would have written something. G.write B, it would have written something. Now let me go and read that line. Now that what I have done is, for line in G, I have opened a file for write mode, and then I have written something on the file A and B, and then I just want to print what I have written. Okay. Okay, there is nothing here. Let me just remove this file. Oops. Okay, I have to close this. Try again. No, it does not delete it. So what I would do is quit. Control Z plus return. Okay. Now let me go here again and try to delete this. Okay, fine. I'll have to close this. Okay. Let me close this once. And now let me try to delete this. Okay, I was able to successfully delete it. Now G.write, G for line in G, print. Okay, it's just printing some junk values. there is no close option in Python. Yeah, there is close option. We'll see that. We'll see that. You know, I have not gone. I have not reached there. So what we would do is let's go and read that and come back to this. Okay. So basically, working with files, this is how you do, right? You just open a file and then you read it. In this case, right? You just open a file, you read it, and then you print it. In other case, you open a file in read-write mode, you write into that file, and then you print it. Okay. Now, files are storage compartments in your computer that are managed by operating system. Python built-in open function creates a Python file object which serves as a link to the file residing on your machine. So as soon as you do a open on your file, that serves as a link to your machine wherever the file object is stored. Right? File object equal to open, file name, and access mode. Now these are the access mode. R is opens a file for reading only. RB is opens a file for reading only in binary format. Okay. Now files in Python can either be opened in text mode or binary mode, right? So you'll ask me what's the difference. So the difference lies in how the end of line is handled. Okay, different operating system uses different characters to mark end of line. For example, /n is end of line in Unix, /r is end of line in Mac version prior to OS S. Okay, so basically different operating system has different end of line. Some has new line, some has /r, some in Windows it is /r and /n, right? When a file is opened in text mode and when the file is read, Python replaces the OS specific end of line character read from the file with just the /n. That's the difference between binary mode and a non-binary mode. Okay, so basically if you want to transport your code from one machine to different types of machine or make it machine agnostic, which means to say that you want your data or code to be interoperable between different machines, you rather use binary mode. Okay, that's the only difference. Now R plus is nothing but opens a file both for reading and writing. RB plus is again it's in binary mode, right? W is opens a file for writing only, and again WB is in binary mode. W plus opens a file for both writing and reading, overwrites the existing file if the file exists. WB plus is again open, read and write in binary mode. And file.closed, it returns true if files is closed. File.mode is return mode access when the file is open. File.name will give you the name of the file, and file.subspace returns false if space explicitly required with print true otherwise. Okay. Now these are common file methods. See, we saw open, right? We also saw, write. There is read as well for line. The read method reads a string to open a file, right? Or what you can do is you can just open the file in read mode and then it will just start reading it. Or you explicitly can write your read method. This is how you write. Okay. So in this case, you'll have to say file.read and how many lines do you want to read. And close method of an object flushes any unwritten data and closes the file object. So in this case, what's that? Open. Okay, let me delete this again. Let me delete this file and let me open a file in write mode, and let me write something to the file and say g dot close. Now okay, you'll have to open the file again, but that's fine. Let's go and see here. See here, we just wrote it. right? So now going back, the close method of a file object flushes any unwritten information and closes the file object, after which no more writing can be done. Basically, once you write the file, you'll have to close it so that the data is flushed onto the file. Okay. Now, if you want to again play around with the data there or play around with the file, you have to open it once again. You have to open it once again and you just say and say for line in G print line. Okay, again as soon as I close it, I'll not be able to. I can just open it in read mode now. You see, AB, right? I just wrote 2 lines or 2 words here, A and B, and that's what has been written here. So basically, as soon as you close, it's more like committing your data to the file, and if you have to reopen that, all you need to do is open that in read mode and then you just print it. Okay. And also there are a couple of things here now. G.tell will tell you where exactly my file position is now. It's in the second line. Okay. My G.tell is giving you as to in which position the cursor is right now. If I want to write anything on the file, okay, I see a question. There should be a flush function also. Let's see. Let's see dir of G. So these are all the functions that are available. X readiness, rightness, write, truncate, tell, shortface, seek, read line, read info. Yep, there is a flush function as well to intermittently write the data. You're right, Sangamesh. So these are all related to file operation, right? Flush is to intermittently write the data. You are correct. I mean, you have to have flush as well. Okay. So basically, if you want to see any of these operations on file, right, all you can do is you can just open a file, see all the options that are available and play around with it. Tell method tells you tells you the current position within the file. In other words, the next read or write will occur at that many bytes from the beginning of the file. The seek offset from method changes the current file position. Basically, if your cursor, if you have let's say so many lines of data and your cursor is reading at this point in time, if you have opened your first line, your seek, with seek you can move on to the offset from where you want to read the line. The from is set to 0, it means that use the beginning of the file as reference position. 1 means use the current position of the file as the reference. And if it is set to 2, then the end of file will be taken as the reference position. Okay. So there is seek and tell method, and then there are other methods like rename, remove, make directory, change directory, get common working directory, remove directory, etc. So these are other common methods of a file. And last but not the least, the thing that I wanted to tell you was, right, yesterday I was also talking about appending the path to your, let's say for example, I have written a piece of code in this particular location, but this is not in my path, right? So what do? I say import sys, import os, and I say sys.append.path, os.path.absolute path, I give home Hadoop Python. This is in Unix. If it is in my local machine, what I would do is I would just take this and put it here, and I'll be able to pull out my, I'll be able to execute all the .py file here directly without having to set any further paths or having to move the code from this place to another place. Okay. So that's about it, guys. Go through it. There is an assignment and some more other stuff is there in LMS which you might want to see. Those are interesting stuff. And the pre-work for my next class is please go through a little bit of functions, exception handling, packaging, etc. There are certain things that I did not go through today, for example, lambda functions, etc., which will come in my next slide, so I'm deferring it until my next class. Okay.